So, I take it you're feeling better.
Yeah. I'm feeling better. Yeah, I started feeling better on Friday morning, pretty much. But yeah, I was still contagious, so I'm finishing up my contagious period tonight, pretty much. This was the last evening of contagiousness, and tomorrow morning I'll be okay.
So what you're saying is, getting sick was all part of your insidious plot.
Right. So that I didn't only had to go to school one day this week. Yes, that was my plot. It was a good plot.
Yeah. Can I have that plot next week?
And of the 4 days that I missed, only 2 of them where I flat out can't do anything.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you didn't decide to come into work and spread your contagiousness around.
Welcome to My Hill to Die On, episode 10.
Everyone has things that they're passionate about.
Things we want our friends to try and experience.
So we've convinced each other to try different things.
And we talk about these experiences to see if we can get just one more person
to join us on our hill to die on. Well, we just got back from Christmas break, so why don't you tell me some of the fun stories from your Christmas break?
Sure, we decided to stick around Japan this time around, and we wanted to tack on a few of our daughter's favorite things together. As opposed to going somewhere farther away, we figured let's just do a bunch of our favorite things here together in a row. And so one of the nice things about doing it that way is that some of our daughters were sick early on in the break, very early on in the break. Because we're doing things local, we can just delay when we do them. So that is quite nice. We're not stuck sick anywhere. So we delayed our stuff one day till everyone was healthy, and that worked out well. But that means that we did 4 days in a row of big adventure, I would say, probably. But we did Kidzania on a Tuesday, and then Disney on a Wednesday, and then went to our Hotel Hawaiians resort on Thursday, Friday. But Kidzania is a very interesting amusement park. Have you ever been to Kidzania?
No, I was going to ask you what in the world that was.
Kidzania is I don't know if it's anywhere else. It's got to be in America, too. It seems very Japanese here in Japan, though. If they do it in America, they do it completely different, I'm sure. But in Japan, it is a place where kids go in, and there's 2 sessions in the day. We went to the early session, so it starts early, like 8, closes at 3, and then there's a 3 to 9 p.m. session. So that's an interesting session, too. It's probably less busy, but we wanted to do morning so that way we can head home in the evening, because it's all the way out in Toyosu, so it's across town for us. Kidzania is an amusement park where kids can pretend to do jobs of adults. So there are a whole mess of stations around the park. So you can be a carpenter, you can be a candy maker, you can be a pilot, you can be a stewardess, a flight attendant. Sorry, you can be a flight attendant.
Yeah, you got to be PC here.
Well, boys do it too. But there are tons of stuff. And we went one time in the summer, and it was more unfortunately busy than I was hoping it was going to be. And our kids only got to do 4 or 5 jobs in the 5-hour time frame. And they weren't the star jobs. They got to do the salad maker, which is kind of nice because you get to eat the salad, but still, it's not what they wanted to do, right?
No.
So we went this time just after break started so that Japanese kids were still in school. And we got to do a lot of fun stuff. So that was kind of nice. They got to do 7 or 8 things. They filled up 1 card. I know that sometimes if you go when it's light, you can do more than 1 card's full of stuff, but they filled up 1 card. So it's 7 or 8 things. But yeah, they did all the things they wanted to do. The only thing that was a line was the candy maker, and we signed up for that in the morning so that because it was already an early afternoon slot by the time we signed up. So, but yeah, they did a whole bunch of things. And to me, I look at that place and say, it's got to be completely corporate sponsored, because every single job has a real company attached to it. If you're in the candy maker, you are part of the Haichu company making Haichu. If you're doing the delivery guy, you're Kuroneko, the Japanese delivery company. The bank is SMBC. Even the carpenters are it's like Toa House or something I forget what it is, but it's one of those building companies. Every single thing has a corporate sponsor, I think. So
yeah, I'm looking right now, and there are Kidzanias in Brazil, Chile, Costa Rica, Egypt, India, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, Kuwait, Malaysia, Mexico, Philippines, Portugal.
Wow. But not America, huh?
USA is coming soon.
Interesting.
So is Canada.
Huh.
And apparently they're building a third one in Japan soon, in Nagoya.
And I thought there was one in Yokohama.
It says Koshien.
Yeah, where's Koshien? It's next to Osaka. Yeah, it's between Osaka and Kobe.
I'm just looking through some of the jobs that they have. Oh, like a magic studio. A game company.
My youngest daughter did a Christmas celebration thing this time around, and she got to play the steel drum in that, and it was like the seasonal thing. So that was pretty exciting for her. But yeah, sometimes they have seasonal-ish stuff, I guess, but most of the time it's all standard.
Yeah. That is interesting. I've never seen anything like this. Okay, I have to look. Alright, so in public service we have the climbing building.
Oh, yeah?
The courthouse, dental clinic, energy company, fire department, hospital, police department, security center, subway. Where's the bomb disposal unit?
Yeah, they didn't have a bomb disposal unit, but they did have a Tokyo Gas. One time we were watching my daughters doing the housing construction, and the Tokyo Gas people came next door and fixed the pipe and then left. So that's quite fun.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm looking at the pictures of the energy company, and you wear a Tokyo Gas uniform. You're instructed by a Tokyo Gas employee. Yeah, this looks so corporate sponsored.
Oh, yeah.
This is hilarious and wonderful all at the same time.
Oh, it is. It is. Oh, you can work for Domino's? I forget the pizza company. Anyway, you can work for the pizza company and eat pizza. There's even a law office. Some of them are less the law office, the newspaper office. They were not as popular as some of the other places.
It looks like you can work for Nintendo.
Oh, yes, you can. That one is very popular.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
The hospital is quite fun, too. I think my daughters early on did the, you could work in the maternity ward, all the new babies. That was a nice one. But you can even do a surgery one, too. There's some interesting stuff.
Oh, you can have a wedding ceremony.
Oh, you can. That's just super weird. That one is super weird. I am curious if those, because it's always a boy and a girl kid, but do they even know each other? Are they just getting married because they want to get married? It's just a little bit too weird.
Now, my question is, if you sign up for this, is it the fact that your kids are signing up for being in the wedding or for being wedding planners?
I don't know, because it's always kids marching with the tux and the wedding dress.
I mean, maybe it's just like the bride and the groom are like your standard fare actors.
I know, they're kids.
I'm talking like child actors.
Oh, I guess they could be, but I don't know.
Because, I mean, come on. Pop idols have to get their start somewhere.
I don't know. It's quite interesting. One of the things we did this time around was that we wanted to make sure they got their driver's license, because when we went in the summer, there was a bunch of car things you could do, but you can't do any of them unless you have your driver's license. So we made sure they got their driver's license this time, and my daughter said that was one of their favorite ones. Just getting the driver's test, doing the driving thing after that wasn't as fun. The driving test was fun, because now they're like, oh, I didn't realize all those signs meant something. That one means you have to go this speed. Oh, and that one, Dad, that one says you can't park here. I'm like, oh my goodness. Now my kids are backseat drivers.
Which is what you totally wanted in your life.
Oh, Dad, look, she's standing in the crosswalk, Dad. You can't go. Like, oh.
I also like how the DMV is sponsored by Mitsubishi.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You do realize that, like, this is part of what I would do the entire time, is just, like, look at who is sponsoring which things.
Oh, every single thing has a sponsor. Every single one of them. It's hilarious. I don't know if they're sponsors, but everyone has a real name attached to it.
I think it's got to be a sponsor.
Probably.
Because I can't imagine Mitsubishi saying, oh yeah, sure, go ahead, build an entire amusement park that has our logos everywhere.
Oh, yeah. And it's very Japanese. You show up at a certain time. You sit down for the instructions. You listen to the instructions. You get the clothes on, shoes if required. You do the thing. You get up and you leave. It's very orderly, and nobody pushes and shoves. It's quite fun. The kids love it.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah. And there's no lines because you sign up for reservation times, basically.
Yeah.
So the kids aren't sitting waiting in lines. If you want to do something, luckily when we went this time, you go and the reservation time is like 10 minutes from now. Great. You pop around for 10 minutes and you show back up and you're good to go. But if it was very busy, you would just be signing up for something that's either half an hour or an hour out and have to go wait around for that to come, which is what we did the first time. So yeah, no lines basically.
That's an improvement from needing to optimize your life at Disney.
Yeah. We actually had a great Disney trip too, but yeah.
How much optimization did you do before you went?
Not too much this time around. I think I only had basically one objective, is that, again, I set my sights low because we had plenty of time. So I was like, we're going to have a successful day no matter what we do.
Yeah.
And pretty much my goal this time was my daughter, who was sick the last time we went, just making sure that she got to do the fast ride. That was pretty much the only goal. And she did, so that was no big deal. This was the first time I bought tickets on my phone and used my phone instead of paper tickets. And that was quite interesting, using my phone instead of paper tickets. And the only time it made me worry about it was when we got fast passes to Star Tours. And because of the parade and the crowds that the parade caused, we were like showing up very tight to the end of the fast pass window at Star Tours. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's an electronic ticket. Electronic tickets, like you're 1 second over, you're done, right? Right. Mm-hmm. Like I would think there's going to be a lot less forgiveness. But of course, it's probably Disney, and I'm sure they have forgiveness and everything because it's Disney, and they don't ever want to ruin your day. So I was figuring, we'll have to see. But we made it, so I was pretty pleased. But
good.
I was like, oh my goodness, electronic ticket, no forgiveness. Yeah. But anyway, Disney was fun, and I was pretty pleased. My kids are now old enough. Well, if everyone's healthy, we can stay to the end of the day. So we stayed all the way till 10 o'clock and squeezed in a good number of rides between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. That worked out very well, actually. That was one of our successes. We were going to get on a line. We were going to get on the Winnie the Pooh ride with 40 minutes to wait at 9 o'clock. And my wife is like, let's just go do something else instead and come back. And my daughter's like, no, I really want to ride Pooh. But we convinced her. So we did 4 other rides. And then went back to the Winnie the Pooh ride just before 10 o'clock, and they let us in, and we did that too. So
I'm glad you went back to Pooh.
We went, yes, back to Winnie the Pooh. All right, so how was your Christmas?
Well, I did go back to the States for my Christmas. I usually only head back to the States during the winter time, mostly because, from my experience, I've spent summer back in the States and gone back home for the summertime, but really what ends up happening is everybody's working, everybody's busy, so you barely see anybody. So, during wintertime, however, it's like a non-stop parade of people who you've wanted to see for basically a year. So it was a good trip for me. I got to see pretty much most of the family who live in and near Chicago. So that was good for me. I got to meet my nephew, who was born about 7-8 months ago now.
Oh, nice.
So this is the first time I've actually got to meet him in person. So it was nice. Although the one thing that I will say was rough was the fact that everyone who came and visit was somehow sick.
Oh, yeah.
And so when they left me a present in the way of germs. Mm-hmm. So I spent basically the last few days of my time in America trying to get over being sick, which was interesting because I wasn't quite over it and had to fly back. Now, I'm going to tell you, I hate flying. If I don't know how much you remember of the one flight that you've had when I was there too, but I hate flying. I am I am always a nervous wreck on planes, even though I know nothing's going to happen. I just hate flying. So, I'm sick. I'm about to get onto a 13-hour flight into this tiny little chair and going to be an awful, awful time. Then I hear an announcement come over the terminal for our flight. They've overbooked the economy and are allowing a upgrade for a severely reduced price to business class.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm.
So here was my problem. Money's been tight the past few months because I've made some purchases.
Like an iPhone.
Like an iPhone. I'm still, like I said, I'm still recovering from that iPhone purchase and a couple of other purchases. Like, I bought the iPhone, then I bought my ticket back home, which was a little bit more because I had delayed on my original purchase. Well, they said, we'll upgrade you for this 13-hour flight to business class. So I did it. The hit to my bank account was as bad as I was expecting. But let's just face it. I was sick. I would have been miserable and in a tiny seat for 13 hours, and instead I was miserable and able to lay down and spread out and relax for 13 hours. And so I was only sick. I wasn't sick and uncomfortable and hating everything about my existence. I got to spend 13 hours in a very, very cush seat. The nice thing about it is when you get business class, you also get to go into like the special lounge while you wait for the plane to actually get there, which had like a buffet and like free coffee and drinks, and you're just, before you even get on the plane, you're feeling spoiled. It was great. So for me, the big thing for Christmas is always family. Like, no matter what else happens, getting to spend time with family is the most important thing for me. And so I achieved that goal.
Good.
Speaking of Christmas, you mentioned earlier that you had a decent story.
Well, my wife and I, probably more me than my wife, like to joke around with gifts a little bit. And we give ultra practical gifts. Like, I think I gave my wife a stapler once for her birthday, because that's a secondary gift, not a primary gift.
I'm glad to hear that, because I'm sure she would react great if all you gave her was a stapler.
So I got a bunch of gifts for my wife.
Wait. Before you go on, I have to ask about the stapler. Was it a red swingline stapler?
No. It was a Japanese small mini blue stapler.
Okay.
The ones you see all over the place. But anyway.
Yeah, I just had to ask.
But so I was joking around with my wife a little bit. I got her a bunch of gifts, and parts of our shower was breaking. Our shower head was doing fine, but the thing that mounts the head to the wall, it slides up and down on a pole.
Yeah.
And the thing that slides up and down was breaking. And my wife mentioned at one point a while back that, I would love a shower head that you can adjust the sprays. So I said, okay. So I got my wife a shower head that can adjust the sprays. And it's just like, this doesn't even fix what's broken. I was like, don't worry. I got the slidey thing too. I'm just not giving that to you as a present. But yeah, ultra practical. She's like, it just doesn't need to be a gift. I'm like, yeah, I got you other things too. But yeah, I got my wife a shower head for Christmas. No, for her. Actually, technically, I got it for her birthday. Like you and me, my wife's birthday is right around Christmas. So yeah, I got birthday presents and Christmas presents all together.
Yep. I definitely got that this year as well. I got a lot of clothes for my birthday that were bundled with clothes that I got for Christmas. So, lots of things like that. I will say, though, you have a lot of like practical gifts for your presents. I am the most boring present giver ever, because I always just show up and be like, guys, I don't know what you have and what you need, so here's a gift card. Go treat yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is basically my go-to present these days. And what's really funny is it's getting to the point where I just show up for Christmas and know exactly, all right, Mom's getting a Kohl's gift card, Dad's either getting Amazon or AMC theaters, and my brother and his family, they're getting Amazon, definitely. My cousin, probably going to get an Amazon card. Everybody's getting gift cards. I ask them every year if they want something different, but nah, everybody's pretty well set in their ways now.
Mm.
I'm not about the guessing game of, well, do they really want this? No. Ever since I was a kid, I came right out and said, all right, give me an itemized list of things that you want, because I am not good at guessing. Clearly, giving gifts is not my love language.
Me neither. I'm working on getting better, though, because receiving gifts, I think, is one of my wife's love languages.
Ah. That would be a reason to get better at that.
Mm-hmm. I'm working on it. I did fairly well for Christmas and birthday, so I got to keep up the streak.
Mm-hmm. Shower heads are always high up there.
Well, there was a bunch of other things.
I'm sure.
So that was the one in the birthday. In Christmas, I gave her a thermometer. So, I had to keep it going.
Now, are we talking like a meat thermometer or like a health thermometer?
Indoor-outdoor thermometer.
Oh, good.
Ultra practical. Hangs on the wall. Because the one we had was broken. So
I appreciate this.
That one could be argued that it wasn't for her. The shower head, again, could be argued that it wasn't for her. Although the one with the settings is. I could have used the same one, or could have gotten a plain one again. But no, it has settings. I got the one with features.
That's important. What's your theme for the year?
Yeah, I don't have one. I didn't pick one.
You didn't pick a theme for the year.
It's the year of the same.
The year of the same.
That's not bad, actually. No, I should come up with something better than that, but that's not bad.
I would say I haven't really given this a lot of thought yet, but if I were to think of a theme, I'd like this year to be a year of progress.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of projects that I've kind of put to the side here and there. I'd like to maybe not finish them, but make significant progress in them. The number one of which is actually a couple of years back, I wrote a novel.
Oh.
And I tabled that because I do enjoy writing, but I have only intermittently been writing for the past couple of years. And I would like to finish the story that I've been intermittently writing for the past couple of years.
Sounds like a good plan.
So this is different from the first novel that I wrote, because that one, I got a lot of rejection letters on that one and said, you know what, I'll table this story and come back to it later. I would like to publish eventually, and I know that if I don't make a concerted effort towards it, it will never happen. And I'm not getting any younger.
Got to keep working at it.
Yeah.
It's past, what's it called, the November writing thing?
Yeah, it's past NaNoWriMo.
So you're going to have to set aside other time.
Well, actually, I tried something last week on Thursday and Friday, and it worked pretty well. I don't know how well I'll be able to actually keep it up because it's hard. But what I did was I set my alarm early and actually showed up at school and spent about an hour and a half to 2 hours writing before anybody else arrived.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And then, so basically I would arrive at school somewhere between 6 and 6:30 and just write from then on. And then at 8, when everybody arrives, switch into work mode.
That's a good way of doing it.
I think it is a good way of doing it, especially because I also know that if I wait for the end of the day, it will not happen. Because my brain is usually dead at the end of the day. It worked out pretty well on Thursday and Friday, so I'm going to try to see if I can keep it up.
Sounds good.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, maybe there's a better way of phrasing it, because there's some other things that I'd like to make progress towards, but for now I would say my theme that I'm kind of aiming towards is a year of progress. Or forward momentum, or something like that.
It's good because you can use that a bunch of ways. Actually, I did have a few things to say about the Mac Pro, actually. I think I don't want to complain. Because I do think that this machine isn't for me. But I guess what I want to talk about is I used to have Pro Macs.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a Power Mac G3, a Power Mac G4. Actually, I never owned a Power Mac G5 cheese grater. Or one was never bought for me either. Some of these computers, G3s and G4s, were bought by the school for me to use. But I never owned a G5. And I do know that many people don't need modular Macs. And maybe I can even say that about myself now. Watching some YouTube videos and listening to some podcasts has now brought back memories of how I used to use my G3s and Power Mac G3s and G4s. And how I used to have cards that I would switch in and out of computers and get things to work. I mean, I bought an iPod second generation. So it was just like the first gen, except for the fact that the click wheel didn't spin. It was a touch surface at that point. And it had a FireWire cover on it. So when you plugged in the FireWire 400 cable to your Mac, it had a cover on it. The first gen didn't have a cover. So it was very much the same as the first gen iPod. I bought it with my Power Mac, I think it was a Power Mac G3 beige tower. So we're talking an old computer here. And that computer did not come with FireWire 400. So when I bought the iPod, I had to buy a FireWire card for my beige tower. So I spent $400 on the iPod and $100 on the card. Or maybe it was $300 on the iPod. I don't know. I bought the middle of the line iPod, so I'd have to look that up again. I think it was 10 gigs. But anyway, so, just having the ability to add the card to get the FireWire was great. When I came to Japan, I had a server at my house, and I wanted to keep it going when I moved to Japan. And I didn't want to bring the Power Mac G3 Bondi Tower with me. So I took all the components out. I arranged with the tech guy here before I left. And I said, hey, do you have a blue and white G3 tower that you're not using? Oh, yeah, sure, we got one that we're not using. So I said, great. I took all my components out of my blue and white tower, brought only the components, left the tower home, and plugged them all into the blue and white tower when I arrived. And I was up and going in no time. So yeah, I love the modularity of a Mac Pro. And I am a little bit disappointed that the new Mac Pro is just out of reach.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of history there. And now listening to people saying, oh, wouldn't it be nice if, I can just add another card of USB-A ports because that'll probably only cost $50. Oh, that would be nice to do to a computer. Just add another card of USB-A ports.
So what you're telling me is you want a Windows computer?
No. No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I'm just able to admit at this point that a lot of the technology has gotten to a point where most people tend to not need to do that anymore.
And I agree. Most people don't. I mean, one of the things I was looking, it would be nice to have more internal storage in a computer, just add a second drive. And you can easily do that on a Mac Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do it on anything else. I mean, I have external USB-C SSDs that are nice. I use them all the time.
Yeah. I get it. Before I came to Japan, I pretty much solely had a lot of PCs. So, I mean, I get the modularity. That's part of the whole appeal I had with the PCs that I had was I bought a tower and just swapped out pieces as I needed to replace them. So, by the time I came to Japan, I had a lovely Frankenstein monster.
The interesting, I've had all those towers, but I don't think I ever upgraded a processor. I think I upgraded RAM a few times, but I never upgraded a processor.
Well, to be completely fair, most of the processors are built straight on the board, so you have to swap out the whole motherboard.
That's why, in some ways, I am thinking, because at this point, everything that I would plug in, I could get externally now, because now it's pretty much storage, which I can through SSDs.
Yeah, you just need to invest in more dongles.
Yeah. Blackmagic is pretty much the only other, the video interface for recording is pretty much the only other thing. And they have all Thunderbolt accessories for that now because, again, Mac has been mostly Thunderbolt. So they've changed their line over to Thunderbolt stuff. They do have cards ones still, but they have Thunderbolt capable ones. Yeah, I'm okay. I don't need it right now. Now, seeing this come out and watching the YouTube videos, just reminiscing about the old days and like, oh yeah, I used to do that. It was quite fun having an iPod in college, being one of the first people to have an iPod. And that year that I bought that iPod, we had actually done some recordings amongst the cross-country team of some music. And I had loaded that on to the iPod because it was in my iTunes library. We had recorded it. I had printed up a CD cover, and I put it in my iTunes library, and it loaded up on the iPod. And my friends were like, "Wow, that's my name in your iPod." It's like, look, I'm listed right here.
I have just gotten to the point in my life where I am just admitting that I know that for what I do, pretty much your MacBook Pro is sufficient for what I do. And that's a little sad. It's a little sad to admit it to myself, but I just have to admit it.
Are you feeling thirsty?
I am very thirsty, actually.
Me too.
So what is this monstrosity that we are drinking today?
This is called Calpis, which sounds really weird in English. Let's get over that for a second.
Yes.
It is spelled Calpis.
No matter how it sounds, it is spelled Calpis.
And in fact, when it comes to America, I think they changed the name to Calpico. But in Japanese, it's called Calpis. But I think I've seen this on the shelf in America called Calpico. Calpis is a milky drink, and it is fairly sweet, milky drink.
Yeah.
And it's pretty popular. I generally like Calpis, plain. Do you like Calpis?
I'm ambivalent towards it.
Okay. They have it in drink bars, often at restaurants, so sometimes I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
Usually I get 2 cups, usually Coke, and something else, and sometimes that something else is Calpis.
Usually for me, drink bars are, I get some kind of coffee and then like a soda water juice sort of thing.
So Calpis, it is a syrup, generally speaking, so they sell it 3 ways mainly. They sell it as a syrup, straight, so you can mix it with whatever you want. They sell it as Calpis water, which is premixed Calpis and water, and Calpis soda, which is premixed Calpis and seltzer water. And so they sell it like that all the time. We sometimes buy the syrup in the summer because we'll do a lot of mixing.
Mm-hmm. How would you normally describe Calpis? You've said it's a milky drink, but I mean, how would you describe its flavor?
It's like a sweet milk, but not like buttermilk, just like a sugary milk.
I would say it's like a sugary milk, but it's a little diluted too.
Yeah, yeah. It's not thick like milk.
Most of what you get is diluted with either soda water or water.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's Calpis in general. Now, the drink we have in front of us is something else different, something else entirely. I think it is a double thickness mix. Is that what that says on the side there?
I think so.
It's going to be a rich milk.
Yeah.
That is also then strawberry flavored.
Yeah. Sorry, this is a kanji that I just do not know.
The first one is milk.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a rich Calpis, strawberry flavored.
All right. I'm intrigued and scared because, like I said, I'm kind of ambivalent towards Calpis in general, usually. But let's see how it is.
Ooh, it's like strawberry milk smell, right?
Yeah, it smells like strawberry milk. Very artificial strawberry smell.
Yes, definitely artificial strawberry smell.
That's interesting.
It's heavier on the strawberry flavor than I expected.
Yeah.
I expected it to taste more like Calpis, but it's more strawberry.
Honestly, it tastes like somebody took... And this sounds like kind of a cop-out now that I'm thinking about saying this aloud. But it tastes like somebody took strawberry milk and just mixed it with soda water. Like they went to a drink bar and had a carton of strawberry milk and just poured half of that into glass with soda water. And when I'm talking strawberry milk, I am honestly talking about like the strawberry quick.
Yeah, it's very strawberry.
Like, not like somebody took strawberries and like minced them into actual milk and ground them up and made kind of a mini smoothie. No, I'm talking like somebody took strawberry quick.
Yeah. Strawberry flavoring.
Yeah.
Because again, only 1% fruit juice.
Now the question is, what fruit?
Does it say in the ingredients?
I'm looking.
Grapes.
It's grapes. It says grapes right there.
That's hilarious.
Yes, the strawberry flavored Calpis 1% juice is grapes.
Oh, and then a little bit later on, it does say strawberry juice.
Oh, does it? Oh, there it is.
That's pretty funny.
But the one that comes first is grapes.
Yeah, grapes is higher up on the ingredient list.
The more you know. Now, I would say that this isn't terrible.
It's not terrible. If anything, it's a little bit too sweet. That may be the only problem with it. But otherwise, it's exactly as advertised, in a good way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's face it. If you get like a carton of strawberry milk at the convenience store, this is actually less sweet than that. Because usually when they do the strawberry milk at the convenience store or like grocery store, it is just ungodly sweet.
Oh, okay. I haven't gotten the strawberry milk here in Japan that often.
I tried it once because I was like, I like strawberry milk. Yeah. Nope. They make it way too sweet. I would say good. Not quite at the top of my list.
But good.
But good.
I will be able to finish it.
Yeah. This is not one that is getting dumped. I've only had to do that once or twice, I think.
I think I finished the plum Pepsi, but it was pretty bad.
I did not finish the plum Pepsi. I made it to about a third of the way down and just went, no.
I think I was very thirsty. I really was very thirsty. So I finished it.
Well, I actually was very thirsty here. If you noticed, I kept coughing because my throat was getting very dry there. I feel like my thirst has been quenched.
Good. Succeeded.
Goals met. I have been playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, okay.
Which is a fun game. And it's in the Star Wars universe. It takes place between episodes 3 and 4. So the Empire has just risen, all the Jedi are being hunted, and you are basically a Jedi who has been like hiding out in a world, and the entire game is about you trying to reform the Jedi Order after it's basically fallen and collapsed.
This is the one that I heard that was semi-good, right?
Yeah, this one is one of the few Star Wars games that's actually good.
It's on PS4, right?
Yep. Basically, how it feels like when you're playing it is somewhere between like an action RPG like Dark Souls, but also has like Metrovania or set pieces like an Uncharted game. But it's always just so much fun to get force powers. Because I will be honest, I have regularly just strode up to stormtroopers and just force pushed them off a cliff.
Because you can.
Because you can. So, I just wanted to mention, I'm only partway through the game, but I am having a lot of fun with it. So that is what Ryan's been playing in the time since I got back from Christmas break. Alright, so Iron Giant.
Alright, so this week we're going to talk about the Iron Giant. It was picked by both of us, right? We've both seen this.
Actually, no, this was picked by you. Because, strangely enough, I had not seen it.
Really? Oh, I did not realize that.
This was one of the few movies that just snuck by when I was a kid that I never got a chance to watch.
Really? So you watched it for the first time?
I watched it for the first time about 4 hours ago now. And I had heard such great things about it, so I just went, fine, and jumped on Amazon and just bought it.
Good. It's worth the money.
Yeah. Hey, movies anywhere. I have it on Amazon now, and iTunes, and and Google, but yeah. So this movie was picked by you because you thought I had seen it, but I had never actually got a chance to watch it before this point.
Oh, well, if you haven't seen it, if anybody else out there hasn't seen it, go watch it now because we are going to discuss it
and spoil everything.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone will have seen The Iron Giant very recently. Therefore, it would probably be best if we would summarize the movie for you all. If, however, you're using this as kind of a stand-in instead of watching the movie, you're going to do yourself a great disservice. I would highly recommend watching the movie. The Iron Giant was directed by Brad Bird and has a pretty stellar all-star cast. The movie opens with an object falling from the sky and landing in the ocean off the coast of Maine in the middle of a storm. The old man who happens to witness this also has the terrible luck of confusing it with a lighthouse. This object is the titular giant that we come to know and love. This confusion, however, causes the man's ship to be wrecked. We then open to meet Hogarth, a young boy who goes to his mother's workplace to try and convince her to let him keep a squirrel that he's caught. The squirrel gets loose, and while Hogarth is looking for it around the diner, we're introduced to several key players. There's Hogarth, his mother, and a man named Dean, who at this point is the unfortunate victim of a squirrel trying to make a home of his trousers. Hogarth and Dean also overhear the man whose ship got wrecked, trying to convince other members of the town of what he saw. Later that night, Hogarth finds his antenna is missing and proceeds to follow a trail of broken timber and metal, leading him to the local power station. It is there he discovers the giant. When the giant becomes tangled in the power lines and begins being electrocuted, Hogarth goes and helps him by turning off the power. The next day, Hogarth goes out to find the giant and tries to take a picture of the giant, just to prove to other people he saw what he saw. It was about this time that a man from the government, Mansley, shows up to investigate the disturbance. He's pretty well not invested until his car gets eaten, at which point he proceeds to put forth all of his efforts into finding this creature and the witness to it, Hogarth. All this time, Hogarth does find the giant, befriends it, and while they're crossing the road, the giant tries to eat a railway, at which point he desperately tells the giant to fix it, which he does, but the giant is broken and destroyed in the process. At which point Hogarth discovers that the giant has the ability to repair itself. They decide to hide the Iron Giant at Dean's chop shop, who hides the giant among some metal and other repurposed junk. The next few days, Hogarth and the Iron Giant have fun, reading comics and playing and whatnot. Hogarth introduces the giant to the difference between heroes and villains, and all the while, Mansley is trying desperately to find any proof of the giant's existence. The story takes a turn when the giant sees and meets a deer. When the deer is shot and killed, he sees it and equates the gun with an instrument of death, and becomes very angry and goes into some kind of self-defense mechanism whenever he sees a gun. Then, later, Hogarth is playing with the giant with a toy gun, and it goes into that same self-defense mode, and he nearly kills Hogarth in the process. Dean then chases off the giant, and then shortly after realizes that it was indeed just a self-defense mechanism. At the same time, Mansley does find the proof that he was looking for and calls in for support from the military. The giant goes to save some boys who fall off a roof, and in the process is discovered. The town is grateful, but the military goes into a full attack mode, which makes the giant go into a self-defense mode, which also makes him super scary and kind of destructive. When Dean finally convinces the army to stop the attack, because it is indeed just a self-defense mode. They finally do convince the army to do this, but Mansley also calls for a missile attack, which would, of course, destroy the entire town. The giant decides to save the day by choosing who he wants to be. He flies straight out of town, up into the sky, and takes the missile with him. The story ends a few months later, or a few weeks later, when the army sends Hogarth a small box with a small piece of the Iron Giant. The Iron Giant seems to be putting himself back together.
So what did you think then?
I really liked it. It was good. It was not what I was expecting, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I guess it's tough for me because now I expect it because I've already seen it. So, yes. Okay. It's not what you...
Well, I mean, I say not what I was expecting because it's one of those movies that has been talked about so much that you get bits and pieces of the story when people are like, oh, this part of Iron Giant. And so really you have, when people talk about a movie or talk about a show and you've never seen it, you have what you think is the movie in your head that's just a strung together version of what people have told you about it. And so, I mean, in my head, it was a mix of like what people had said mixed with a little bit of, oh, there's a boy and he finds a giant. Okay. The giant is clearly going to get hurt by the military because that's what the military does in all these movies. Like I said, I thought it was excellent. I am a little sad that I never got a chance to watch it growing up.
Yeah, I think that this is a good one because I think it's a very well-told story. I think that was one of the things that stuck out to me this viewing, too, is that there were just great scenes that laid the foundation for things to come, right? The train accident that tells us that he can put himself back together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, why does that become important? Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it becomes important in a few ways. So the deer, where he learns about life and death, that becomes hugely important. There's just a bunch of key scenes that put things together really well for everything to come together well.
Pointing back to the deer scene, you see where he realizes that it was the gun that caused the deer to stop moving. To die.
That too. You're right.
And that then triggers something in him that he has that reaction towards any guns after that point. Also, it does definitely fit that this was like middle of Cold War.
Yes, yeah. I think this had to have been this time period. You can't have it set other time periods, really.
I mean, either middle of Cold War or it'd have to be like 2020 America right now. Or
yeah.
Too soon?
Fear is one of the themes that I've written down too. Yes, exactly. Fear mongering is one of the themes I wrote down. Yes. We can discuss that later.
But yeah, also, can I just say there are certain wonderful lines in that movie that just made me smile. Because it created depth of character with just a few lines.
Oh, yeah.
Like, one of the ones that made me laugh so much right at the beginning of the movie was, do you remember the raccoon? I remember the raccoon.
Right. It tells about his love for life and how he wants to save things, and yeah.
And apparently there was some traumatizing stuff with a raccoon.
Yeah.
And then, again, to create that same like level of characterization, you swing to the end of the movie when clearly the mom and Dean are now together. And she says, "This is your best work yet."
Yeah, actually, I was thinking that line too. Really? You like this one the best?
So, I mean, all these small little snidbits give a depth to the characters.
Right. And I think like they say exactly
enough to give you their character without hitting you over the head with it.
But I think what I was trying to go for is they say exactly what they would say. Like, there's no missing the mark. Like, the kid, like, when he's on the top of the stone ready to jump off, you know, this is great. I want to, you know, this is great. He jumps in and says, oh, you got to come in. The water's fine. Like, that's exactly what he would say there. I feel other movies would miss that somehow. I feel like these characters are always right on the mark.
The timing. It's the timing.
Yeah.
This movie does its timing really well. Another scene that shows that is actually when the government agent is trying to get information, and it's the, hey sport, hey champ, hey bud, hey. And always asking those things. But that timing, this movie just has that timing down. And I think it was written in a way and created in a way that just makes that timing come to the forefront. I think also they do that again and again with other lines that happen, especially when it comes to replaying a line or a scene that has happened previously to add dramatic flair or connection to what's happening right now. The example I would point to is right at the end, where the Iron Giant is heading towards that bomb, and he's replaying what the kid said, you are what you choose to be, and the Iron Giant responds with Superman. So, I mean, those sort of things where clearly, instead of choosing to be the destructive robot out to destroy the world, he's choosing to be Superman. I think it comes back to the timing, that they had that down pat.
Yep. And I was thinking it was very well animated too. Like, you didn't see many mistakes in animation. And one of the things that sticks out to me as somebody, as an amateur who doesn't really look for these things, is when the lines get thicker. And I only saw that happen once. It was with the government agent guy, Mansfield, when he was coming in to Hogarth's house, and they zoomed into his face and the lines got thicker at that point. But everything else was animated just as it was supposed to be. It seemed like it was planned ahead enough that they knew exactly what level of zoom to draw things. So it worked out great. But that was the only time, I forget, it was early on when he was coming into Hogarth's house where they zoom in on his face and the lines got thicker. But I guess that's just, you know, very careful pre-planning. Probably. I think one of the interesting things to me was looking at the actors who played the characters. You could almost have it be a live action movie, I think, with these actors, if they had done it, because they look almost their parts. Not too many of them are quite different. Like the old fishboat captain at the beginning, played by M. Emmett Walsh, he looks similar to that guy. Harry Connick Jr. looks similar to Dean.
Vin Diesel clearly looks like the Iron Giant.
Well, yeah. They would have to have done something with him, but Jennifer Aniston, the only difference is she's got blonde hair, you know. So I think what's interesting is they could have made this a live action movie. Special effects might have been hard back then, but
it was 99.
Yeah, they couldn't have done the Iron Giant, but they might be able to now.
Yeah.
So Brad Bird then went from this directly to Incredibles, which is interesting, huh? That's a jump. Oh, well, I mean, it took 5 years, but still.
Sorry, I'm just looking at his list of things that he's doing now.
He went from this to Incredibles to Ratatouille.
Iron Giant, Incredibles, Jack Attack, then Ratatouille.
Yeah, Jack Attack is the short thing.
Yeah. I will say, though, it makes me go and acknowledge exactly how great he is as a director. Because, I mean, I think of those two movies, especially Incredibles and Iron Giant, and go, they are fantastic movies that I will always keep coming back to. I mean, true, this is the first time I've seen Iron Giant, so yeah, keep coming back to.
From now.
From now.
It's a modern classic.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, the other ones he has on here, Ratatouille, Tomorrowland, Incredibles 2.
All right, let's get to the themes. I mean, to me, the thing that makes this movie the best is the primary theme that it's hitting you over the head with.
Yeah.
is you are what you choose to be. And that theme is just hit over your head tons of times. And that's a great theme.
It is.
And I think that's what makes the movie for me.
I think, yeah, you are right. A lot of movies like this would be, oh, it's a fun sci-fi romp. But no, I think it is the fact that this one has that theme embedded in it. In everything that happens, in everything that is done.
I mean, it has all that great stuff we've talked about. But then this theme is embedded in it, right? The great animation's good, the great story's good, but then there's this core theme that's running through the whole movie that makes it great, I think. Everything else was just good. I mean, it was all good animation, good actors, good stuff. But then this theme, I think, to me, is what makes it great.
It is what sets it apart from others. It does beat you over the head with it a couple of times, you're right. But I think it's an important enough message.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's overly hitting you too hard, but it makes it clear. It makes it very clear. Because they do repeat it when he's going up into space.
They repeat it when he's going up to space. I think the first time it's mentioned is a conversation between Dean and the kid.
Yeah, actually that was good, right? Because Dean was trying to are you letting those kids tell you who you are?
Yeah.
And then the kid is then bringing that to this guy. Even the boy was trying to make him be a Tomo, and he's like, no, I don't want to be a Tomo.
Yeah, he was saying, I don't want to be a Tomo, I want to be Superman. I don't want to be the bad guy, I don't want to be the one who's destroying things, I want to be the guy who is saving people. And then I think really the key for me, in addition to everything else, is when everything seems to have fallen apart for the Iron Giant, when he thinks that he's nothing but a gun, when he thinks that he's nothing but a weapon, the thing that he chooses to do is basically put himself at risk, run into town to save these two boys. And so I think, yeah, it comes back to he is choosing to be better than whatever he was created to be. Because if you think about it, I mean, he was clearly created to be some kind of weapon. There is no reason he would have that many weapons on him if he was not originally created to be that way. And yet, even after realizing all these things, he is choosing to be different, choosing to be better.
Yeah, because I like how he gets extremely scary when he gets into full-out mode, right?
Yeah.
He's got snakes coming out of his sides like nothing else. But then, no, he doesn't have to be that.
Yeah, he's got atomizers on his arms and...
Yep, it's great. So then there's the secondary theme, which is don't let fear run your life, which is still a good message for nowadays.
Yeah, because you have the one character who is clearly the villain of the story. One of the lines that gives you the best impression of his character is something along the lines of, we don't know who created it, and therefore we need to destroy it before it destroys us.
Right, exactly.
And because we didn't create it, that's enough to know that it could be dangerous.
So it needs to be destroyed. Yep, it shows his character right off the bat. But I do love the caution of the general. The caution of the general is good.
Yeah, the general only began doing all the bombing and chasing after he believed that it had killed a child.
Right. Because that's what the guy told him, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the kid's still alive?
Yeah. Because it came down to the fact that all of the initial scariness came about because it was a self-defense mechanism.
Yep. Actually, and the other thing too is I was thinking about it. So he turned on from a self-defense mechanism and then protected Hogarth. And then when he believed Hogarth had died, then it turned into anger, which was interesting because that's very strong an emotion, right?
Yeah.
The robot had shown minimal emotion before that. Some happiness, some desire, but then that was a definite emotion. And I think that's nice because now he's not a robot.
I would actually disagree. there,
Right.
because I would say that he shows emotion, because before that he shows the emotion when he's doing the scene where he's talking to Hogarth after the deer has died,
Yeah. Mm.
where they're talking about souls. They're talking about he feels, and because he feels, because he is having the sadness due to seeing this deer die and acknowledging that it is now dead, that he has a soul, and they're talking about that.
That's true. So I guess it did happen earlier. So he is not a robot. He is definitely an artificial intelligence somehow.
Yeah.
He is a full-fledged. He's got feelings and everything.
Now the question is, why didn't he dream of electric sheep?
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't go into that.
Anyway. But yeah, I would say that, yeah, he is a full-blown AI. He definitely shows emotions. He definitely shows feelings. But yeah, when he thinks that Hogarth is dead, he reacts with anger.
Really good movie.
Really good movie, and yeah, I am a sucker for a line like, "You are what you choose to be, Superman." Yeah, I think this was an excellent choice, and I'm glad that you put this on the list.
Yeah, good. Oh, we were going to get on the poo line for like 40 minutes. Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry. No, I'm just gonna say it. I'm still 5 because I still laugh at things like poo line.
Let me rephrase. We were going to get on the Winnie the Pooh ride.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I have the humor of a 4-year-old.